Bread suppliers in the town of Douala launch an identification process. They launch a process to bring solutions to the rising prices of fuel, or rather bread, in the Republic of Cameroon, as consumers continue decrying the increase in bread prices emanating from the increase in the price of flour as a result of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. And of course, we shall also talk about non-profit organization that has said millions of people, about 28 million, are in dire need of food in East African countries, and these are still the consequences of the Russian invasion of Ukraine, added to harsh climatic conditions. Stay with us. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us in this edition of the 6 p.m. news on Equinoxe television. I am Babli Jonathan. We begin with news concerning the increase in bread prices in the Republic of Cameroon. This is raising concerns and worries, especially among suppliers, notably the low-income earners and the poor, who constitute a bulk of the population. Bread prices have increased for the past days, and now bread suppliers across the city of Douala have launched an action. They are protesting against the sudden increase in the price of bread by bakery owners. Immaculate Fogwe reports.
For 2 days now, bread has been scarce in most stores across the city of Douala. Visiting some stores at the Lokbesu neighborhood in the Douala 5 subdivision, empty bread shelves could be noticed. Speaking to one of the sales girls, we are informed that the bread suppliers are on strike. They are lamenting over the drastic increase of the price of bread. Gathered in their numbers, the bread suppliers say they are fed up.
We are asking those patrons of the bakery that please, all what we want, that we don't want that they should add the price of bread that we are taking from them, from the wholesale now, because they are giving bread at 120 francs. We cannot go and distribute it at 125 francs, beginning 5 francs.
Since last week, 200 grams of bread, which used to be sold at 125 francs, is now sold for 150 francs. The increase authorized by the government follows the increase in the price of flour and other ingredients in the market. According to the suppliers, the 40 francs increase is having a negative impact on the activity.
So we'll be able maybe to come in our machine, fix maybe things that are spoiled on our machine, try to survive things that we have in our own family. It's all what we need.
Food vendors specialized in the sale of bread and beans equally lament over poor sales since the increase. According to them, they go back home without being able to sell their entire pot of beans. In the course of our tour, we spotted a man eating fried eggs and cassava paste, commonly called bobolo. He explains that his choice is as a result of the price hike. Parents equally rely on other breakfast options for their children. I came here to buy bread for my children, but I cannot find any. It is terrible. I am now forced to buy puff balls even when my children do not enjoy it. We do not have any other choice. We are pleading on the government to come to our rescue. The bakers, on their part, plead on the suppliers to bear with them during this difficult moment, given that the entire production chain is affected. We would like the suppliers to understand that it's not our fault. If bakers have to respect the official weight of 200 grams, then we cannot sell it to the suppliers for less than 120 francs. If you see a bakery selling bread for less than that amount, then know that they are not respecting the official weight. I would like the suppliers to understand that we are nothing without them. Consumer associations fear that the suppliers' strike action may become widespread and lead to bread scarcity across the Republic of Cameroon in the days ahead.
Inadequate potable water supply provokes tensions in the Mokolo subdivision, Mayo-Chanaga division, far north region of the Republic of Cameroon. Inhabitants are covering long distances to get water of doubtful quality, and the consequences on their health are enormous. Details with Equinoxe in this report.
They are not at a prayer or a ceremonial ground. A dry borehole is the pull factor. The quest for water by the various households from Zimeyo, Modal and Sabongari villages in the Mayo-Chanaga division of the far north region is alarming, with gallons lined up. The lone dry borehole is found in Zimeyo. It supplies the population of Zimeyo, Modal and Sabongari. Some at times go home without water. To avoid a cluster by all the three villages with a total of 338 counted homes, there was need to divide them in three groups. A group like today is the turn of Modal to draw water from the dry borehole. Tomorrow will be the turn of another, and so on. This is to avoid the daily clashes or conflicts between the people.
C'est le problème, il y a des problèmes qui arrivent toujours.
A woman is allowed to carry along only 2 drums. They spend all their time only to have their containers filled with colored water.
Les femmes passent la journée ici au forage. Les enfants pleurent, ils n'ont pas la nourriture à la maison parce qu'il n'y a pas l'eau.
Even pupils and students spend their time here in order to quench their thirst.
Ils viennent, ils passent la journée ici, ils n'arrivent pas à lire.
With regards to this pathetic situation, the youths cover kilometers on foot, donkeys, bicycles, motorbikes and tricycles to fetch water in Zamai, with just a borehole too, supplying the villages of Boatasa, Sulede Rua and even Mokolo. They travel 4 kilometers, others 7 and 10 kilometers to fetch water here. We cannot send them away. Understanding the situation at hand, we have to help them, coupled with the fact that there are so many refugees here who depend on the lone borehole. These children often leave their homes as early as 5 a.m. but return at 5 p.m. The quality of water consumed is unhealthy, thereby at the origin of the numerous cases of waterborne diseases suffered by the locals of the 7 villages in the Mokolo subdivision, who plead and continue to plead on government authorities to make the inhabitants live like them in Yaoundé.
The National Institute of Statistics fears that the persistence of the war in Ukraine, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, could paralyze the supply chain of products imported from those countries and increase social tension in Cameroon. In a new report, it says Russia and Ukraine remain strategic economic partners for Cameroon. Details with for me, Armstrong Sander. For me, Armstrong Sander with that report, filing in details on a report published by the National Institute of Statistics, in which the institution says that the continuation or the worsening situation in Ukraine could further provoke tensions, social tensions in the Republic of Cameroon, because it will continue interrupting the supply chain of products from those countries. And the National Institute of Statistics says that despite what is going on, Ukraine and Russia remain strategic economic partners for Cameroon. For me, Armstrong Sander.
Trade balance with Russia and Ukraine has remained on a structural deficit over time. Beginning with Russia, a report from the National Institute of Statistics indicates that imports from Russia have been on a consistent rise within the recent years in Cameroon. Imports from Russia increased from 11,531 million in 2010 to 96,672 million francs CFA in 2020. Goods imported from Russia consist wheat, which represents 65%, fertilizers with 17%, hydrocarbons with 8%, and steel and iron products with 4%. In 2020, Russia supplied a total of 396,000 tons of wheat, worth 62.791 million francs CFA to Cameroon, occupying 45% of the total wheat imported by Cameroon that year, positioning Russia as the #1 supplier of wheat to Cameroon. To better explain the trade deficit, the National Institute of Statistics says Cameroon's total exports to Russia in 2020 stood at 188 million francs CFA, dominated by timber and timber products only. The country's exports to Russia has been on a decrease from 216 million francs CFA in 2010 to 188 million francs CFA in 2020, according to the National Institute of Statistics. The report says imports from Ukraine have been on a steady rise since 2016, comprising mainly iron and steel, with about 95%, followed by industrial machines and equipment with about 2%. Exports to Ukraine in 2020 stood at 47.7%, comprising timber and timber products only. Russia and Ukraine therefore remain strategic economic partners to Cameroon from the above analysis. The National Institute of Statistics fears that the persistence of the war between Ukraine and Russia paralyzes the supply chain of goods exported to Cameroon from the Eastern European countries. The tension and impact of the increase in the price of bread might worsen and extend to other products directly linked to the Cameroon-Ukraine, Cameroon-Russia trade chain.
For me, I'm Sander reporting there. The Douala 3 subdivision remains one of the most underdeveloped parts of Cameroon's economic capital. And of course, the subdivision is made up of several kilometers of bad roads that are in a very dilapidated state, and social amenities are also absent in several parts of the municipality. Now the council authorities are striving to step up the standard of living, to step up the living conditions of the people. They are finding solutions to these problems plaguing life in that part of the country. These are some of the issues that were on the table during the last council session in that part of the town of Douala. Details with Mala Glory.
Bad road network, insecurity and the lack of other social amenities are some issues faced by the inhabitants of Douala 3 municipality, a situation preoccupying to the municipal councillors.
We have problem of insecurity. We have the problem of roads. We have the problem of water.
The population is not in the center of the preoccupation for the mayor. I see the mayor is absent. The mayor don't address solution to problem who can make evolution to the situation of the population.
This was during the municipal council session to evaluate and to adopt the 2021 budget. It was presided over by the senior divisional officer for the littoral region, Benjamin Butu. According to the mayor of this municipality, over 2 billion was used for project development in the community, and other projects are in course for 2022.
Now we have to present it to the whole council that they should know what we did with the money we collected. So you saw that for the last year we got 2,700,000,000 something, and project we carried last year is the road. You saw the road of the road that we made there in Yala, and then we did the same thing with the road of PK10. So there is many classrooms that we have rehabilitated. Something we told you that 20 classrooms with our money, not the money of the state, the money of the the tax that we have collected outside.
The municipal council members say the mayor should be close to the people in order to feel their pain. Land disputes and many others remain the order of the day in this municipality. The people therefore look forward for the realization of the mayor's promise.
Pascal Abundi, president of PWD of Bamenda, accompanied by the vice president, went to present the trophy of the 2020 Cameroon Cup competition to the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, Ni John Frundi, who is one of the elite and major political figures in the Republic of Cameroon and elite of the northwest region of the country. And the PWD Football Club, one of the teams from the northwest region of the country, obtained or grabbed this trophy for the first time. And of course, it was celebration in the northwest region of the country upon the arrival of PWD Bamenda. Even though the celebrations of the Cameroon Cup trophy was somehow watered down by the absence of a proper sport amenity in the whole of the northwest region of the country, and the people went on complaining about these and raising concerns, sending distress calls to the administration to construct a stadium in the town of Bamenda. And the governor of the northwest region, Adolphe Lafrique, said that he had a discussion with the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Jangote, on this issue, and of course actions should be taken in the days ahead for the construction of a proper sport amenity in the town of Bamenda. And the president of PWD Bamenda went to meet the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front with these worries also, and presenting the trophy that they grabbed by defeating Astro of Douala 1-0. Now take a listen to Pascal Abundi, who is the president of PWD of Bamenda, and Nick John Frundi, the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front political party, in this extract. We'll be coming back to that extract in subsequent editions of the news. The extract of the president of PWD of Bamenda, Pascal Abundi, and the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, the extract concerning PWD's victory at the final of the 2020 Cameroon Cup competition, a 1-0 defeat against Les Astres of Douala, the Brazilian, the Bepanda, at the Amaru Aijo Stadium in Yaoundé. And it was the first time that PWG of Bamenda was getting that trophy, and they went to present it to the national chairman of the Social Democratic Front, also highlighting the problem of the absence of a proper sport amenity or stadium, particularly in the town of Bamenda and the entire northwest region of the country. And this has been the cry of the people of the northwest region, and we heard supporters, fans and sympathizers of PWG of Bamenda right in Yaoundé and even in Buda during the encounter against Bambutusin this season of the Elite One Championship, voicing out this worry, voicing out this demand. And even when they arrived in the northwest regional capital Bamenda, we heard the fans speaking out and calling on the Yaoundé administration, the sports authorities, the Cameroon Football Federation, to do something as fast as possible regarding this problem. Now, coming up, we bring to you the reaction of the Chief Executive Officer of Equinoxe Television and Radio regarding a warning letter sent to the media organ of the people by the governor of the littoral region of the Republic of Cameroon. However, the letter was signed by the governor of the littoral region, warning the media organ over allegations of attempts of instigation of violence, attempts to instigate violence or revolution in the country by allowing some panelists to make statements that can provoke instability in the country. And the chief executive officer of Equinoxe Radio and Television said this never happened, this has never happened, and this will never happen on Equinoxe Television or over Equinoxe Television or on Equinoxe Radio, because the media organ makes sure that in every production professionalism is respected and the laws of the land are respected. And he, however, attributed this letter signed by the governor of the Littoral Region, Samuel Didone Vahadiboa, to the Minister of Territorial Administration, Tanganji Paul, and he said that the letter should not and cannot be any consideration, anything to consider as far as Equinoxe is concerned. Now take a listen to Severin Chunko in this extract. We should come back to this in our subsequent news editions. A non-profit organization, Oxfam, warns that up to 28 million people in East Africa are at risk of extreme hunger due to the price spikes caused by the Ukraine war and potential lack of rain. The group said Kenya, Somalia, and Ethiopia are experiencing the driest weather in 40 years. Meanwhile, South Sudan is tackling ongoing flooding. It also highlighted what it views as the destruction of the international community because of the Ukraine conflict. This leads to a neglect of the food crisis in the East African nations, and Oxfam describes the global response as woefully underfunded. And a press release states that only 3% of the $6 billion United Nations 2022 humanitarian appeal for Ethiopia, Somalia, and South Sudan have been funded. And this is where we end this edition of the news on Equinoxe Television. Thank you for staying with us. Goodbye.